Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Streamed live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis, and I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation. And I'm joined this morning by my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
I'm starting you off with a standing ovation, Tommy.
Yes,
it's always a good thing to get a standing ovation, man. Makes you feel like you ain't stingy with them standing ovations anymore, man.
Yeah, we are. We get real critical in the beginning, and we refuse to stand and share their.
I'm not getting them out of my seat. It was okay.
It was okay. Right? It was lackluster. It was
right.
They haven't done anything to impress me yet, and so I'm going to put my frown on. I'm going to look sternly.
Right.
And I'm going to give 2 claps.
Right.
Maybe 3. But we want to applaud and stand. I'll stand for you as well, Eric. Standing ovation for all of us and our community.
Absolutely. And we appreciate our producer, Lydia. We thank God for you this morning in Mexico, just fighting through life, and God is with you. And we are grateful for that. Tommy, want to start by talking about your week. And then we are going to talk about sort of what it takes for people to try to reach their full potential and maybe embrace the growth mindset. How was your week?
My week's been a good week, Eric. A busy week whereby we're working with a municipality here in Ohio, a city, and we're conducting a citywide workplace climate assessment.
Okay.
And so we are canvassing the entire city with regards to employees, departments, divisions. We're ultimately going to be conducting 160 focus groups.
Okay.
And close to 400 interviews.
Wow.
And so on one day last week, I had maybe 6 focus groups. One was at 6 a.m. and then 8, 10, 2, 4, and 5 p.m., 9 p.m.
Wow.
So that's the entire day where I would get up early, make the commute to this area of Ohio, which is about 2 hours away from my home. Started at 6 a.m. and engaging folks where they are.
Mm-hmm.
What I do love about the work that we do in last week in particular is that, Eric, I've truly honed my skills and talents of making people feel comfortable talking.
Mm-hmm.
I think one reason I do that is that I don't know what their experiences are. I don't know what the situation is. I'm actually asking to know, not to use it against them, not to say, I got you, not to even judge it or debate it. I'm just asking. So what's been happening? And that may lead to another question of, I'm not understanding, tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that folks hear that and say, let me talk to this young man, right? And so we're very, very happy and proud to continue this work of assessing organizational climate, developing training and coaching. And then as I wrapped up the week, I was able to go golfing. I know we missed a couple opportunities because I was away, but I was invited to a Friars Club outing.
Yeah, I heard about that. And I thought about doing that because I love the Friars Club.
Yep. So I was invited by one of our clients, and many of the players on this particular team, we had 2 teams, were former NFL football players.
Okay.
And they have stories after stories after stories, including their own personalities.
Right.
These are athletes at the highest level. Some of them are 20 years removed from playing ball.
Right.
But they remember the the
Right.
80s and the 90s and how NFL used to be. It was just a pleasure listening to them talk about the good old days while we are, hacking away at the golf course.
Right. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. And congratulations for the work that you're doing. And I know that you have a gift for being able to put people at ease in a way that will allow them to share some things that are important to them and that are impacting them in the workplace. So kudos to you. Tommy, this week I had a chance to be with my client, Louisville Water, in their core council, council that's focused on culture, ownership around that culture, respect and engagement. And the CEO, who is a member of the council, not just the executive sponsor, but attends the council meetings. I spoke about the overturn of affirmative action, and he followed me. And I'll tell you, Tommy, I don't know if I will ever hear another full-throated endorsement of DEI. I mean,
Wow.
mincing no words. He said, that's not going to change a thing with us. He said, we are full steam ahead. He said, we are committed to this for as long as I'm here. He said, look, he said, we've made some progress, but we have a long way to go. He said, and if the law starts trying to change things, we'll change terms if we ever have to. But the commitment to this work and the commitment to diverse, employees within our organization, having a fair, equitable place where they feel like they belong, nothing will change that.
Wow.
That's what I said, Tommy. Tommy, he didn't take a pause. He didn't hesitate. He didn't say concerns. No, we're on the right road. Nothing's going to detour us from that. Not as long as I'm here.
Wow.
And man, I was great. I was surprised, actually.
Yeah.
Because somebody was telling me maybe I should give him some coaching on, what to say. No. He got it.
Yeah.
Because it comes from here, Tommy, because he's been doing his work. He's been doing his work. Mm-hmm. And he's grown as a result of this. The second thing is I had also a chance to work with one of my other clients, a public citizen, and had some wonderful conversations with them about diversity and working with their leaders as well. One young man was just asking a question about, how do you help somebody who doesn't seem like they want to change at all? And he was talking about his father, and he was saying, I've got 3 brothers who we're all progressive, and then my father is, sort of stuck back in the, the dark ages or something like that. And I said, you know what? I said, if your father created an environment where 3 of his sons are progressive thinkers, maybe you don't see everything that your father is delivering. Mm-hmm. I said, because there's no way to be all the way over here and to create an environment that would raise sons that are thoughtful, progressive, and compassionate about others. He said, I think you're right. And so just grateful, man. It's refreshing to hear the candor and the transparency of young people, and older people that are really trying to make a difference, man. So I'm just grateful for the work that you and I are doing, and grateful for the opportunities that exist in front of us. I started laughing, Tommy. I saw that there are a number of attorney generals that have written letters to over 100, the top 100 companies, putting them on notice that we're coming for you. And then I went back and I read the 14th Amendment and Title VII. And here's my response, Tommy. Welcome aboard. Are you really going to try to jump on the ship of the civil rights movement and the fight against racism and discrimination? You're going to jump on that ship and think you can win on that one? No. Right. Welcome aboard, guys. Let's see how we help you do what you're saying you're trying to do. Because if you're really trying to fight racism and discrimination in the workplace, then we got a lot of work for you to do. Mm-hmm. You don't just get to attack DEI. Yeah. You actually have to do what you say you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's the good news for us, Tommy, is you can't keep playing with this and not have to do the full work. Mm-hmm. Don't come over your game plan like you just going to cherry pick a few DEI initiatives and try to turn the clock back on that. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
You are operating in the space that we yanked this country into embracing. Tommy, let's talk about the topic this morning, the top sort of 7 strategies for achieving full potential. Let's start with a conversation about full potential and what does it mean to try to achieve our full potential, Tom?
Yeah, full potential in my mind, Eric, is kind of two, maybe even threefold. One, full potential is based on what the individual sees as their full potential, right? And that is typically based on past experiences coupled with aspirations, inspirations, and dreams. And so sometimes our full potential is based on, okay, we were able to achieve X in the past, and I did that at 50% or 60%. So I want to do more, and I can do more if I apply 90, if not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of that full potential, and then achieving that stretch goal.
Right.
The other part of full potential is when there are outside entities that can see unmet needs, unutilized talents, and skills.
Mm.
So sometimes the individual cannot see their own talent, their own blessing,
Right.
but other people can see it very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just do that? Right? And why don't you run for this? Right? Why don't you throw your name in the hat for X?
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have that external view of one's own full potential. And then the third is kind of the glue of what full potential is: matching skills, talents, opportunities, and timing to reach full potential.
Mm.
Skills, talent, opportunities, and timing. So as we look at our own skills and abilities with our talents, those God-given gifts, with the opportunities. So opportunities are abundant, but sometimes the timing is wrong. And so we can instill the right skill, the right tool at the, in the right opportunity, but the timing, that great idea, maybe before its time, maybe after its time. And that idea, I think, is that person in their full potential, Eric.
Right. Tommy, I didn't expect this topic to challenge me so quickly, but it has. And so, first of all, let me start by saying, although I said, what does it look like to achieve our full potential? I actually don't believe that there's a such thing as our full potential.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
I actually think that potential is it's an open ceiling.
Yep.
We don't actually know what the ceiling is.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are trying to achieve more of our full potential, never getting to it. It's boundless, but we're achieving more of it. Here's what's challenged me, Tommy. So I wrote this down, that what would it look like if we focused on achieving closer to our full potential in the places in our lives of greatest importance and need? And then I said, ooh, that's a different way of looking at that.
Yeah.
In other words, it's important for me to live a healthier life. As I live a healthier life, it helps me to feel better. It helps me to have a better attitude. It helps me to be here on earth long enough to marry off my children and maybe see my grandchildren. So what if I were to begin to zero in on achieving closer to my full potential in health and fitness? What if we were to really focus on achieving closer to our full potential in business? How might we operate differently, Tommy, if we were really thinking about it that way? So I think that that's a lens that I want us You've seen what I do around golf and what you do around golf.
Mhm.
We talk about it a lot. We're reading. We're on the internet. I'm studying. I'm going to practice range. All of that. And guess what? I'm getting better. You're getting better because we are focused on trying to achieve closer to our full potential.
Mhm.
I think that's great, but I want to challenge our audience early right now to almost begin to prioritize what are the areas that it is of most importance that you achieve your full potential.
I think that's well said, Eric. I will agree that I don't think that people can actually achieve full potential.
Right.
I think we can obviously drive to achieve what we think it is.
Right.
But that is, as we talk about golf a lot, that is the elusive perfect golf game.
Right.
When you really know that you will not be perfect.
Right.
You will not be your absolute best. In golf, we are good for a moment.
Right.
For others, professionals, that moment is an elongated season or
Right.
time frame.
Right.
It may be 2 or 3 years, and then there's a shift because our bodies change, etc. For the amateur, it's every time we go out, it's up and down. And so, what is that full potential? That full potential is execution in that moment.
Right.
I think I can do this or
Mhm.
achieve it. I plan to achieve it. I execute that plan and I achieved it
Right.
for that moment, for that second, and
Right.
then I'm out. That's
Right.
full potential. And
Right.
it's kind of the joy and sorrow of it all. It's the joy and enlightenment and exhilaration of achieving above what we thought we could achieve.
Right.
And at the same time, as we try to replicate that success, that achievement, we fall back, and that sounds like, I'm not operating at my full potential. In reality, we may be learning a new skill, a new dream in that digression, in that step back, right? That will catapult us beyond our previous achievement into a more full potential and achievement. In other words, Eric, and we'll get into some strategies. Yeah. And I'm thinking out loud, and thank
I like
you
it.
for allowing me. I'm thinking back at my own life, professionally and personally. I can put my finger on moments where I was doing my absolute best at my fullest potential, I thought. And I failed. I not only failed, but I may have lost something.
Right.
And in my trying to understand that failure, that loss, another opportunity was presented to me. And my full potential, I said, don't dwell on the failure or loss. Look at this new opportunity. I ran through that door and I exceeded opportunities. That's through marriage, business, friendships, love, all of those failures and digressions that I've had. I've moved into the next phase of complete fulfillment. And I'm wondering what's next.
So you're saying to some extent, let life lead you.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you don't always know what's the absolute right direction. You're headed out in a direction. It fell completely apart. And that's why the song that I played before, Let Him Drive, maybe God is still driving. He drove to that crashing so we could get to something else that would be a brighter day. Let's look at some of the comments that our community is weighing in with. Although I try to do my best at everything. Good morning, Terry. I guess I could be measured by how great is the challenge that I'm facing. Thoughts about that, Tom?
I would agree.
Yeah.
So again, the when we self-assess our challenges, we have to be critical, and the word I'm looking for, that we have to have some empathy and compassion for our own assessment of our challenge. Because we can look at a personal challenge, or we can look at a challenge, Eric, and that challenge may appear to us to be very challenging. And so we can measure our own success against that particular challenge. But in God's lens of us, that is only a stepping stool to an even greater challenge.
Right.
And so the measurement on that first challenge is, man, that was a deep challenge. I overcame it. What was my strategies to overcome it? And I was successful, right? That's just preparation.
Right.
And oftentimes those challenges, those big challenges, are not the physical challenges. They're the emotional, psychological, and spiritual. Right? For example, we have NFL Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, he was gifted and talented with a athletic mind and body. And in recent years, his body has failed him. Yeah, he had an injury with his toe many moons ago and had to have a couple of toes amputated. He had to go through this particular challenge. This is greater than the challenge of making it and winning Super Bowls, playing in the Major League Baseball, overcoming poverty, overcoming some of those disparities. This was really taking away from a God's gift of his feet. And then later, there was a threat to take away his foot altogether.
Right.
And now, based on the interviews that I've seen him share, his insights is that his spirituality, his mindset, his approach to dealing with even greater challenges is better because he was able to measure previous challenges and current challenges. I know that's a long answer for a very deep question and statement that T. Cooley was offering. So we don't know what this thing in life is going to offer us, but one of the strategies is to set clear and meaningful goals that we want to achieve to overcome these challenges.
Right. And he says, I guess I could be measured by how great my challenges. And I would say that no one else can measure you by that but you. What might look small to some is huge to others. It really comes down to how much of my visual space is that challenge covering.
Yes.
Because, if I can see all around it, that's nothing. But no matter what it is, if it gets to a place where it starts doing this to me, then that's a huge challenge. You could say it shouldn't be, but if it's covering my ability to see anything else, hope, optimism, all those things, then it's a significant challenge. Let's see what somebody just said here then about, I think it's the cap. Oh my God, yes, that's right, Tommy. Emotional, spiritual challenges, that is beautiful. And I believe are the most important challenges. Let's see what now Kevin said here. Thank you for the question. I'd like to reach my full potential to go in that direction and helping and assisting more people. And I would say again, won't ever, because I think potential is boundless. We don't know what the cap is of who we are, what we can accomplish. But we're all saying, how do I strive? And when I start achieving closer to my full potential, you're saying here, then I can help and assist more people. Let's see what I'm challenged every day. So I'm great. And some of the challenges are as well. I'm not sure that.
There's so challenges.
Right.
Yeah. I get
Right.
it. Yeah. Even going back to the last statement where there's there's a goal or maybe a dream to assist more people and to utilize your fullest potential to help more people. The kind of the catch-22 is that as we are fulfilling our potential and helping people, there's always more people to help,
Right.
including ourselves.
Right.
It's just like love. Regardless of how much love you give, God will keep your cup full to give more.
Right.
And we can see our full potential as our glass of potential,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we keep pouring into that glass as we are distributing those resources of help, of assistance, of care, right, to other people. And as our glass continues to fill up, we're reaching our full potential, but we are offering it out as well. So it's filling and emptying at the same time.
Right. And I'd say that's where we got to go, Tommy, that we don't, it feels like a sad consolation prize. Affirmative action is to overturn. So the consolation prize is, why don't we reach out to each other and help each other achieve our full potential? I would say it's more certain that I can be helpful to you than the government can be helpful to you. And so we are looking for the uncertain instead of depending on the certain. Now, the first strategy that we looked at in terms of achieving closer to our full potential is set clear and meaningful goals. We talk about this SMART goals that are specific, measurable, actionable, they're realistic, and they have a time frame. So if there's anything that you are trying to do, and I'm going to talk to Terry about this, Terry's trying to do something with foster children and maybe even getting a home. I would say that those things in our mind, and I have a lot of them, are dreams and visions. But the first step to beginning to accomplish them is to just write it down. Write it down. What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Specifically, what do I want to do? What is the measure on how to, what are the actions that I need to take? How realistic are they? And then what is the time frame for each action? As I begin to set those goals and really make those SMART goals, I then get closer to the day in which I will realize those. And I know that for my book, I procrastinated for 15 years, Tommy. I kept saying I wanted to write a book, and I would do 10 pages and I'd stop. And then I'd come out another year and I'd do 15 more pages and I'd stop. It wasn't until I decided that I was going to do it and I started working on it every day that I got it done in 7 months. So that's when you are looking at your full potential this morning. I want you to know that potential cannot be a whisper that's in your spirit that somehow is just going to manifest itself. Sometimes that happens that way. But I would say that God has already prepared us with a lot of ingenious insights, witty inventions the Bible talks about. They're already inside our mind. And I would say that we have to silence the noise that is penetrating our brains on a regular basis. The noise of other folks, of news foolishness and the foolishness of the world. We have to create more space, more opportunity for us to then get in touch with the talents, gifts, abilities answers that are already inside of us, and begin to then actualize those.
Yeah, I love what you said, Eric, and T. Cooley is confirming as well that with setting and setting meaningful goals using the SMART goal acronym, I do like that a lot, because I was just thinking putting pen to pad, kind of scripting some things out. That's one thing. So it could be specific. We know what that specific goal is. Measurable, as we've been talking about. How do we measure that goal? And the other is actionable or achievable.
Right.
Beyond saying yes.
Right.
Beyond that, Eric. So I find myself at times establishing goals and saying, is this goal realistic? Well, yes, it is, because it's a goal.
Right.
But I haven't really assessed, to your point, the barriers or the noise that's preventing me for actually achieving that goal. So in reality, at that moment, that answer is no.
Right.
It's blinding me.
Right.
It's informing me negatively
Right.
that I truly can't see if this goal is achievable, right? And because of that, I tend not to set a hard time frame.
Right. Right.
It keeps pushing it out, pushing it out, pushing it out, and then other things happen like life, right? So that is, I think, a strong first strategy for achieving our full potential is to set clear and meaningful goals.
Right. Let's look at the next one. Let's see, to be clear. One, determine, and as you say, write down SMART goals. Love this. Okay, excellent. The second one then is develop a growth mindset. Embrace a growth mindset, which involves believing in your ability to learn, grow, and improve over time. View challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles, and maintain a positive attitude toward failure, seeing it as a stepping stone toward success. And I say that, again, I'm gonna come back to golf. I say that on the golf course. If I miss enough putts, I'll learn how to.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if I keep missing them on the right side, I say, okay, I'm missing them on the right side. Adjust, bro. You can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
So failure can lead us to success. And so developing this growth mindset. Growth mindset not being something that pressures you to achieve materialism, but growth mindset is showing up as my best self or my better self more often. I think that's really what a growth mindset is. It cannot be limited to material achievements. Growth mindset has to be linked to me becoming my best self more often.
The growth mindset, Eric, will also be your subconscious that will remind you that mediocrity and status quo is not enough.
Right.
It is our growth mindset that will tell us, right, and our producer, it will tell us there's got to be more.
Right.
That's what the growth mindset is.
Right.
And then it's an action beyond that reminder, right? So as we're going through life and going through work and doing what we do, we get to a place of, is this it? Is this all it is?
Right.
That's your growth mindset asking that question. The answer is no,
right.
That's not it.
Right.
There is more. And now can we continue to tap into the resources, the opportunities that will allow us to learn, grow, and improve over time. And we're measuring that because we're always achieving some form of success. We're growing. It is the individual, and sometimes it's us, it is the individuals that gets complacent. It is what it is. That's complacency, right? I've plateaued. I've gotten to as far as I can go. That is mediocrity, right? That's complacency. And so that is not the growth mindset.
Right.
So we will continue to encourage and remind ourselves that we can and we will do better.
So my father used to say, had a saying that he would say. Today, I think it's slightly insensitive, but it goes like this. He says, and somebody else probably wrote this, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. And so if I can get past the insult of it, we can't sit around and be simply wishing that we were at the goal that we're trying to achieve. That's just not, it's not going to happen that way. You've actually got to have a growth mindset and a plan that can then enable you to try to reach and achieve something. Tom, I'm going to say to you right now that out of this show, forget what anybody in our community does with us. There's going to be at least one or two things in your life and mine that we're going to begin to put this, I want to get closer to achieving my full potential. I don't want to just wish a better day was here. I don't want to just wish that I had all the greatest, best clients that because sometimes we get overwhelmed by the goal and by the potential, and we never actualize because we're never actuating our energy. We're never taking stands at trying to get there. We are just thinking about the road and not getting on it. I think that that's a recipe for delay. That's what it is. It's a recipe for delay. And too many people feel like there are delays in their lives. And many of the delays are ones that we could change in a moment if we simply had this growth mindset and begin to actualize it by putting together a smart plan.
I agree, Eric. That's spot on.
Let's look at the next one. Continuously learn and acquire new skills.
We have to acquire new skills. And I know sometimes in my speech pattern, I don't want to be received as being being lectury. I don't want to be perceived as all-knowing. I will just share this, that a lot of my approaches is based on what I've learned and what I've heard other people learn. And so what does that mean is when I say, yeah, we have to develop new skills. Part of that statement, Eric, is aspirational. It really is. As I'm thinking about it, what do I mean by that? Is I hope that people are wanting to develop new skills. But in reality, in the work that we do in diversity, equity, and inclusion, we both know that there are people who do not want to develop a new skill of diversity, equity, inclusion, awareness, accessibility, belonging. They don't. And so to achieve full potential, I agree that continuously learning and acquiring new skills is a requirement.
Right.
Otherwise, we will not achieve our full potential.
So let me then bring this into our relationship. I would say to people that you want to be around people that can appreciate who you are and the gifts that exist inside of you. Every time, Tommy, anytime we're talking and you say, I want to wrap this up, I know I've been talking too long. You'll say something like that. And I'll be like, huh?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, community, we're in a world that may or may not always want to hear what we have to say. And so we get practiced at, because most of the world is not trying to go anywhere, that we're on a time clock. So if I start talking about something meeting of value, I only have so much time. When I listen to what you're saying, I'm saying, man, that's good. Man, that's good. That's good. That's good. And so there's nothing in my mind that's saying, Tommy, stop talking. Everything in my mind is saying, Tommy, boy, that's insightful. That's wise. Here's my recommendation to the community. Don't find yourself spending a lot of time with people that don't want to hear what you have to say. Don't do it, because it saps your energy. What you want to be around is people that can appreciate you and the gifts that are inside of you. Because when you speak, I then learn. So this continuously learn and acquire new skills, that's not just going to books and libraries and on the internet. That's every moment that we exist. And when we say things to each other that are enlightening, that's powerful, man. You know, companies are paying you thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for your words.
Eric, I appreciate that very much. And as you were sharing again, I completely agree with that. As I surround myself with people like you and others, and I make a statement like, when I'm hearing you and others, so what are you saying? When I say that, I want to hear more and learn more. I do. Eric, what are you really saying? And that's when I can create that groove in my brain right there, Eric. It
Right.
digs deep,
Right.
right? Otherwise, when I'm talking to folks who, in my mind, it's not helping me grow,
That's right.
right? And I don't want to be terribly selfish here, but I'm not growing from this conversation. I want to dismount the conversation. I want to leave.
Right.
I no longer want to hear what you have to say. That's not good for me.
Right.
That's not good for the people I live with and work with and partner with. But if you say something to me, oh, I know, and Eric, you know this too, that I'm like, oh, that was the gym.
Right.
That was the gym.
Right.
We were out here for 2 hours, 4 hours, and right there.
Right.
And I gotta put pen to pad, make a little note in my phone, ask you to repeat it. I'm sorry, one more time, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Now I have something that will help me and others achieve our full potential.
Right.
I get exactly what you're saying.
Right. I remember the first time here recently, and we'll learn these skills over and over again, that you turned your shoulder fully. Your back was to the target. And then you swung like you were swinging a home run bat. And it was like you were on a baseball field. That's out of here. And it was. Woo! As far as we could see. Oh my God, we're just thinking about the road and not getting on it. That's even better said than what I said earlier. I love this. We can't find ourselves simply just thinking about the road.
Yeah.
Tommy and I would say that that culturally is maybe some of the residue of slavery.
Yeah.
That oftentimes we'll show up at City Hall to yell at City Hall about the police shooting. But if you delay the meeting 2 weeks, we won't be there. And we're going to wait on the government to try to figure out how to create equitable performance for marginalized people when we could not just be sitting around thinking about that, but we could get on those roads, Tommy. And I would tell you that we've got to. That's where the Republican Party, their criticism of the Democrats is that they enable us not to ever make progress, that to some extent they try to pacify us. And the Republicans are saying that everybody's got to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but then they're creating opportunities that legacy continues to get privilege, but now marginalized people don't. So, but I just think that you've got to not just be thinking about the road, but get on it. Let's go to the next one. Cultivate self-discipline and focus.
I think that's so self-discipline. As we can have self-discipline, Eric, and then we can critique our own self-discipline. And sometimes I begin to rationalize my own self-discipline based on that goal that I set in my mind. Let me be clear. I want to get in better shape. I do, right? My mind remembers when I was in tip-top shape, right? My mind remembers that. My body now is saying that you are well beyond those years, but there's some things that you can continue to do to stay healthy, increase your flexibility, not be as sore or achy. And so I'll wake up in the morning and I have the idea, there's some things I can do. I'll go to the YouTube, I print out some things from the internet. I may even buy some fitness magazines to have some posters. And that's all a dream. My self-discipline lasts about as long as that thought of getting in shape.
Right.
And I rationalize it as, well, I went golfing for 2 hours or 3 hours and I walked around, so I got some carbs in, some cardio. That's not good enough, right? Just like starting a business and maintaining a business is, I'm self-disciplined, I'm a self-motivator, and I have a piece of business. And I'm working on the delivery of that service or that product. And I work for like 2 weeks 2 months on that project, and then the project ends, and I'm not even disciplined enough to get back and try to find another piece of business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Self-discipline and focus is where we can really face distractions and setbacks in the vein of achieving success. It is our motor, Eric. It's our motor. It's what keeps us going and going and going and going when indeed no one else is going.
Right. And so I'll add this. Let's bring up Kathy's comment. I believe self-discipline gives us the opportunity to be constant and to stay focused. I would say that self-discipline might have to submit itself to group value. In other words, as I look at my life around fitness, the times that I achieved the best results in fitness were when I was in a sport where we had to go to the workout room. So a whole team go to workout room. Now we're doing that every day, getting stronger and everything, because we're it's a team of us. And then more recently, wanting to get up and do my own workout, the most success I ever had was when me, Judy, and Jillian were getting up. So I would say that as you look at self-discipline, if you find yourself being defeated a lot, don't let that discourage you. Find a team. Find other people that you can link with. And I think that we live in a world that is so eye-focused and isolated that we're believing if I can't do this by myself, when it won't ever be done. I think you really do have to find a community of individuals who can be a support for you. And together, then there's nothing we can't accomplish.
So, Eric, let me ask you, when you are driven by self-discipline, either as an individual or you have a team, how do you get back on track when both, if not all, motivational, inspiring factors have gone away, right? Either mentally or physically, like when hope is no longer there, how do you get back on track?
That's a great question, Tommy. So the short answer is it would be nice. And it would almost be like a photoshopping of pictures for me to suggest to you that I have a fail-safe process that I utilize. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is, there are sometimes, Tommy, where we just have to rest in that insufficiency, that ineptness, that falling below the standard. Sometimes you can't simply defeat it. You might have to rest with it for a minute, not for always. And what allows me to rest is my faith. I said, God, I was swinging, I was punching, I was giving my best shots. And whether it was something I did or whether it was something that happened to me, right now, I don't have it. And the world does not look kindly upon me saying that I don't have it. So I won't say it. But you know where I am. Mm-hmm. And what I have found, Tommy, is that the Almighty will send a Tommy Lewis or a company to call me out the blue, or some other answer will just pop in my mind. And I know that there was no way that I would have thought that up on my own. Tommy, that's the value of us having our faith, is that it allows God to close the gap between our potential and our reality.
Eric, that was perfect. That was perfect. And you expanded for me the definition of full potential. Right? Because earlier I said full potential is, within one's own ideal or identity, if you will. And then the other is maybe some influences from outside. But you shared that when we may rest in the lows of self-discipline, the lows, that it's the higher being,
That's right.
right, that can inform our full potential.
Right.
That was phenomenal. So, okay, here are my goals. Here's my self-discipline. Here's my mindset. Other people are giving me information, insights, feedback, and I'm still not there.
Stuck.
So do I keep muddying through,
Right. Right.
or do I stay stuck and ask, I need him help, right? And when that invisible hand reaches down and pulls us out or taps us on our foreheads, that's the idea,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Whispers in our ear, wisdom, insights, that now I can see clearly.
Right.
That is good, Eric. That is
Yeah,
good.
and I'm grateful for that, Tommy, because if not for that, you and I could just be snowed under.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure out here. It's a lot of pressure in life. And if you thought that everything that you needed in your life was going to have to happen through you, you might not get up some days. But we keep getting up, and God keeps getting us up. And I believe that everything happens at the right time
Mhm.
and in the right season. And I think that when we want to accelerate life and time, I'm not sure it would help us. Actually, I'm sure it wouldn't. And so I
Right.
think that we have to take the ride. That's what we do. We have to take the ride. And God has given us a lot of answers along the way. A lot of them we ain't implementing. We're not implementing, we're not utilizing them.
Yeah.
So it creates delay. Those things can create delay. So he didn't strike you down, but it just delayed your ability to get to what in your spirit you think you're wanting to achieve. And so I am grateful for the faith and the hope that I have for tomorrow, and that all of that is not dependent on me. I'm grateful for that. Seek feedback and embrace self-improvement. We have been talking around that. Seek feedback and self-improvement. So let me talk about feedback first, Tommy. That I see that people struggle to accept feedback, starting here.
Yep.
I'd like to say I'm super open. I am open in some areas. In other areas, not so much.
Not too much.
Right. And so if I were more open to listening and considering it, I think then I would have better results versus just shutting down because my brain can't hear what you're trying to say to me right now. And then we see in many of the clients that we serve, Tommy, that one of the most intense conversations that we ever have is when we're reporting back to them the results from the surveys of what their people said.
Yep.
That's what make them go crazy. And so, but if we're ever to achieve closer to our full potential, then we have to be open to receiving feedback as to where we are right now. Why is that a challenge, Tommy?
It's a challenge because we as human beings, we have the ability to change our minds. And that's sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's easy. And then, Eric, it's much more difficult to change behavior. So when we seek out feedback, we can hear that feedback, that criticism, but then we may either have the tools to make improvements, may not have the tools to make improvements, or not know how to make the right improvements within the time frame that we have, right? So I need to improve like tomorrow, and that's not realistic. So that's why it becomes difficult. For myself, I seek feedback all the time, Eric, all the time, in my personal lives.
Right.
Like, but my problem is I don't do anything with a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good to say, hey, what are your thoughts
Right.
about me?
Right.
What are your thoughts? I can receive it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're this. I think you're that. The highs, the lows, all of it. I can receive all of that. And when I'm asking for that and you're giving me the business about me, you don't know that I've left the train station a long time ago.
Right.
And you're talking like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Right.
Womp, 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 womp. And I'm there nodding. I'm not going to do a damn thing with this feedback you're giving me.
Right.
However, if it's presented to me in a way
that's right
that I am moved to hear it.
That's right, Tommy.
It moves me to action. So in other words, I can hear the same feedback from different people who have different deliveries, and I take the one that's more palatable to me.
Right.
Right. But if that feedback comes back to me that has me defensive, argumentative, judging, I want to fight, not necessarily fist fight, but I want to debate this, right? And I get into, like I said, defense mode. I'm not really hearing that feedback, but the feedback may be very true. Right. I have to learn that about myself.
Right. I love all of that, Tommy, because a lot of times when somebody comes at us the wrong way, they've started to do this. Yeah. And there's almost a superiority that it sounds like is coming from them. It could be that they're so hurt that now they become emotional in order to share it. But if it sounds super judgmental and harsh, then it feels like you are saying that you are better than me and that I'm a bad person. If my brain begins to hear that, my brain saves me then. So no, you're not. You're not all that. You're not a bad person. And you're saying if somebody comes to you the right way in the right spirit, it makes it easier. I've had to learn how to even receive it when it comes the wrong way.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of growth, man. And that's a lot of forward and steps backward. I mean, a lot of, backslide with that one. But I find that I don't want to find myself judging the tone so much, but I do. I mean, because my wife would say something to me and I'll respond because it sounded like she was arguing at me or something. I was saying, why'd you get mad at me? Well, I wasn't mad. I was just, but this is one that we'll deal with for a lifetime, Tommy. There are two lessons out of it. One, if we're trying to share something with people, try to say it in a spirit of humility and try to serve it up in a way that increases the probability of them being able to receive it. Number one. Number two, if somebody important to me is saying something, but they're saying it in the wrong way, find a way to still hear it. So both of those things are, I think, valuable for all of us. I am absolutely with you that if it comes at me the wrong way, it makes it a little harder for me to receive it. Let's see if we got anything else. We got a couple minutes left, Tommy. Let's just see. Seek feedback, embrace. Okay. Build a strong support network, practice self-care, and maintain balance. Those are the last two. You can choose any one of them, Tom.
I want to land on the last one, practice self-care and maintain balance. I'm excited that in a few months, actually, working with a client who has committed a full day for their staff of about 400 just to focus on self-care. The entire day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. around self-care. Right. So they're engaging us and us at Make It Plain and some other organizations. And I was taken aback to say, I mean, what are you all thinking that we will do? They were like, we want to meditate, we want to stretch, we want to, if we can, we'll get bean bags and go back into the consciousness and then fall asleep into the unconscious. I'm like, oh, you all are trying to achieve your fullest potential, right? And I would say that taking care of physical, mental, emotional well-being is priority number one, not only as an organization, not only as a small team or department, but as an individual. We cannot do more than what we have to do, right? And if we exceed that, we can find ourselves getting burned out, and some other ailments may come out of not taking care of ourselves well. We can talk a good game, but then we have to be about that work. So we cannot just talk about, hey, I'm healthy, and not work on being healthy. Hey, I'm fine mentally, and then the behaviors that we're not fine and all right. So that's priority number one: practice self-care and maintain balance.
Excellent. Well, this has been an outstanding conversation. Tommy, I want to thank you for engaging with me. Our community, very active today. Thank you for your comments, your insights. Each of us is tasked by God to really be good stewards over what He's given us: talent, skills, abilities, potential. And I think that we can get there humbly. But sometimes we've got to rest in our current condition, no matter what your current condition is. Sometimes just rest in it. Don't fight where you currently are. This too will pass. And everything that you need, if you have that relationship with the Almighty, is already in there. And we're looking forward to you being able to achieve those things through God's help and through the help of great friends like Tommy Lewis. There's nothing that we're trying to accomplish that we can't. Tommy, you get the final word, then we'll close out.
Yep. Again, thank you all for joining us again for another week of Diversity Conversations. Eric and I, we enjoy these conversations in these times, not only just to be serious and reflective, we do that, but also to laugh and rejoice in our development, because we're achieving our fullest potential each and every day. Thank you all for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you next week in another Diversity Conversations. Take care.